When I was a child, around 9 years old, my late father called me one day and asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. Without hesitation, I told him I wanted to be a lawyer. This had been my dream ever since I discovered the existence of the legal profession a few years earlier. As a child, I was attracted to it because it would put me in the spotlight, it would enable me to help people, and it would guarantee a comfortable life for me. So I worked very hard, and 14 years later, I achieved this dream. However, a few years after being called to the Nigerian bar, I realized that I would have to work much harder if I was going to live the comfortable life that had been part of the attractions to the profession. At that time, as a young lawyer, my primary means of transportation was the Inaga, that is Okada or motorcycle taxi. In fact, I had my standby Inaga man who was always just a phone call away. Shout out to you in that step, Onyoma. God bless you wherever you are one day. Now, you have to understand that this was quite embarrassing for me, especially when I would be in my barrister suit and then I'll be passing by on that steps in Aga and somebody recognizing me from a distance will shout, "The young bar!" Well, I had to do something about it, so in 2006, I decided to look for an additional income stream because I desperately needed a car. So I went online looking for possible legitimate businesses I could explore. I searched for what to import or export to make some money on the side. This research took me down the proverbial rabbit hole and I discovered an e-commerce website where palm produce was in high demand in Europe, Canada, and the USA. And it was priced at almost 10 times the value here in Owerri. So I'm talking about Mmanu and Aki, these same things that I was seeing everywhere here in this our Imo State, Kwegu. I immediately decided I was going to advertise palm produce to the international market. It was time to open shop. I needed pictures, so I went to the local market in my village and purchased some palm oil and some shredded and unshredded palm kernels. I took photographs of them and launched my own international palm produce shop on that website. I was excited because it was definitely going to change my life. I had access to an unlimited supply of the products, and I also had access to willing purchasers. After creating my profile on that website, I left the cyber cafe feeling on top of the world. The next day after court, I went back to the cyber cafe. Lo and behold, I had more than 50 people from all over the world who had reached out to me to either know more about the quality of my palm oil or how I could supply them with certain quantities of palm oil. I talked with all of them, and in under 3 weeks, one person from Italy and another from Spain came to Owerri to see things for themselves. We met at Concord Hotel where they were lodging, and they inspected samples of my oil products. They were impressed, and together they requested an immediate procurement of 30 tons of palm oil. So I did a quick calculation, and I knew that I would need about 200,000 naira for their procurement request, and in exchange they will be paying forex in the equivalent of almost 2 million naira. So I approached a relative with this prospect, and he gave me a loan for the said amount. I now had to source the 30 tons. Before I go further with this story, I want to ask my dear viewers and listeners some questions. Have you heard of aquaponics, or hydroponics, or greenhouse farming, or tuber sack farming? The images in this clip will give you an idea, but Google will explain better. Our team, led by Chief Barrister Emmanuel Ifeanyi Awulonu, believes that agriculture can transform the economy of Imo State if properly coordinated. In fact, our guarantee is that from the 6th month of the inception of our administration, Imo State will produce 5 brand new millionaires every month from the Agro-Imo program we'll be putting in place. This program will be driven by the rebranded State Ministry of Agriculture, which, like the other state rebranded ministries, will work efficiently for the betterment of the good people of Imo State. The next question is, how do we plan on doing this? Again, like our solution for 24 hours uninterrupted power supply, this is not rocket science. Past leaders should not be blamed for not being able to achieve this, because in law, we say nemo dat non quod habet. It is Latin for you can't give what you don't have. Likewise, you can't teach or implement what you don't know. Our past leaders and many of the other contestants are oblivious when it comes to using agriculture as a tool for economic growth. Sadly, this is the same situation with tourism. But tourism will be a broadcast for another day. So now back to my story about my journey towards becoming an export magnate. After I got the loan from my relative, I had to visit the inner villages to source the 30 tons of palm oil required by my new foreign friends lodging in Concord Hotel. I pleaded with my dad to lend me his car, as I couldn't do this by hopping from one bike to one bus to one taxi. My wonderful father graciously gave me his car after hearing the progress I had made. So I drove to Ohaji Egbema with my 200k cash, intending to spend it all on palm oil. I was met with disappointment. I realized that we do not have leaders. First, there were no motorable roads leading to most of the oil mills. And when you even see an oil mill, they either didn't have power to run the equipment, or the equipment were broken down or required maintenance. The few that worked optimally were overcrowded, and most of the oil was already booked down by third parties. I reached Owerri that day with less than 10 tons. Way less than 10 tons. My foreign friends were not delighted, but they paid for what I brought. They left, and till this day, I never heard from them again. Our team, ably led by Chief Barr Emmanuel Ifeanyi Awulonu, understands that for agriculture to thrive in Imo State, the government has to create an environment where farmers will only bother about the actual farming or cultivation. They should neither bother about how to transport their harvest to the markets and processing centers, nor how to get buyers before the harvests perish. Our team will establish relevant road networks to make the transportation of crop produce seamless. And this road networking will be more visible in the hinterlands where agriculture is the major activity for residents living there. Our team will guarantee low-interest loans strictly for purchasing equipment for mechanized farming and food processing. Our team will provide high-yielding hybrid seeds and seedlings to farmers so that the crops can ripen faster and with more produce. Our team will provide easy access to ammonia fertilizers and free access to compost fertilizers. This is a function of government, and we plan to see it through. Our team will provide free training to farmers on new and advanced cultivation skills like aquaponics, hydroponics, greenhouse farming, tuber sack farming, and even the process of culturing seeds of all our popular vegetables into seedlings. If you searched Google for aquaponics, hydroponics, greenhouse farming, and tuber sack farming, you will see that we can actually produce these crops all year round because these means of farming they are not seasonal at all. For security and protection of crops on farms, do you remember the Youth Alive Security Program I discussed in the broadcast on our plans for security? Yeah, some of them will be drafted to protect the farms in Imo State from Ndojo. For storage of our harvested products, our team will build mega silos in the 3 senatorial districts of Imo State. Our team will build mega warehouses in the 3 senatorial zones of Imo State. Our team will build mega cold storage facilities in the 3 senatorial zones of Imo State. To make it lucrative, for any quantity of harvested produce the farmers want to dispose of, the state government will offtake same. This means that the state government will be a ready buyer for any commodities harvested. And the state wants this product because by selling to the rest of Nigeria and Africa and even exporting outside Africa, the state will generate more revenue. Of course, farmers will be at liberty to decide the quantity they want to sell to the state government. Our team knows how to efficiently export these crops without any hassles. And yes, we will be driving our economy from this angle by ensuring that farmers are also connected with foreign clients who will pay forex for the crops. Yes, we will use our authority as a government to ensure that farmers registered under our agro program will benefit massively from exporting their products. Imo State and our citizens desperately need these funds. I did mention that tourism will be discussed in another broadcast, but let me just share a bit on that. We will introduce a state yam festival called Irijendimo. We will thank God for providing us food from the earth. And prizes will be given to the best individual farm cultivators from each local government. This event will be an international tourism event because we will use it as an opportunity to invite the diaspora to come to Africa to witness an ancient ceremony. It will be well packaged, and sponsorship from major blue chip corporations and companies will be welcome. A-list artists will dazzle the event. It will be something to look forward to every year. We will also encourage every household to have a small farm or garden where tuber sack farming and vegetable farming will thrive. These things cost little or nothing and need very little effort. Together, we will kill hunger in Imo State. We intend to start ranching the native Igbo cows. Imagine what we can achieve with a state-backed cattle ranch exclusively for the ranching of Ehi Igbo. I will leave you to your imaginations for now, but trust that we have a practical, workable plan for this vision. Because of time, I'll be moving on to the most exciting part of this broadcast. Now, to the icing on the cake. Industrialization. With the proper reliance on state power and technology-backed system, the volume of agricultural products coming from Imo State will necessitate the establishment of private sector-driven factories and industries. If you haven't watched my video on how we intend to provide uninterrupted power supply to Imo State and environs, go look for it. It will help you understand how we will power these industries. With the coming of industries into Imo State, some records will be broken. Unemployment will be at an all-time low. The state GDP will be at an all-time high. Crime in Imo will be at an all-time low. Internally generated revenue will be at an all-time high. Drug abuse in Imo State will be at an all-time low. Urbanization and rural development will be at an all-time high. Imo State will assume her place as the heartland of Igbo land. And naturally, these industries will be mainly based outside the currently existing urban areas. Just imagine the benefits derivable from agriculture. Benefits that have been neglected by successive governments. No, let me rephrase that. Benefits that have been deprived us by successive governments. We have acres of land that year in and year out, they are not being used for anything. They are a gold mine. They are our gold mine. And the administration of Chief Barrister Emmanuel Ifeanyi Awulonu promises to bequeath it to all of us, to our children and their children's children. I'm calling on us all to disregard all the usual rhetorics coming from many of the other contestants in this election. They will always tell you what they think you want to hear. They will even dash you 5,000 for you to dash them the next 4 years. But if you put on your thinking cap, you'll be convinced that they are all in the race for the wrong reasons. Our experience in the past elections is evidence of this. Ndimo Bikono, on Saturday, the 11th of November 2023, forget sentiment. Collect their money if you can, but pick up your PVC, go to your polling units, and cast your votes for the team that has our collective future at heart. Vote for Chief Barrister Emmanuel Ifeanyi Awulonu. Vote for AAC. Please, if you have not seen my broadcast on how we intend to solve the security crisis in Imo State, or the one on how we will ensure that Imo State gets uninterrupted power supply, please visit the link below, leave any questions in the comment section, and they will be addressed pronto. My name is Barrister Michael Obilor Korie. I am from Ahia Zumbise local government area of Imo State, and I am the running mate to Chief Barrister Emmanuel Ifeanyi Awulonu, who is running for the governorship of our state under the African Action Congress, AAC. Udo dirunu niile.